Hello, we're reading American Oligarchy. Excuse the lighting, but it's very late. I was very hot today, and I did work today, but a lot of napping today. It's very hot. Tomorrow I have to go to a wake of a very good friend. Matter of fact, I say he was my brother. We're gonna do the viewing and you know see the body of my brother, my friend. And just a few weeks ago, we were talking, laughing and joking. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. Um, let's read from this. We're dealing with the non-for-profit world. You're gonna see a lot of, um, even more of in the next few years. All these teachers that are quitting, all these people that are quitting their jobs, you better believe they're starting LLCs and they're starting 501c3s or whatever. Even before the recession, critics had questioned nonprofit hospitals' privileged tax-exempt status as a historical relic, on the grounds that the benefits to the community did not balance off the cost to federal and state taxpayers. A 2006 study by the Congressional Budget Office found insignificant, if difficult to measure, differences between the charity work of nonprofits and for-profits. Later studies validated the critics by revealing that two-thirds of nonprofits hospitals, which constitute about 60% of all hospitals, devoted less than 2% of to charity. Perhaps that explains why one survey found that most nonprofits fail to advertise the amount of pro bono care they dispensed. While CEOs of nonprofits collect 1% salaries, their hospitals in several states, including Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Ohio, and Alabama, have launched thousands of lawsuits against low-income patients unable to pay their bills. I know you've been there. A lot of us have been there. I don't really go to the hospital, so in the small city of St. Joseph, Missouri, its only hospital, Heartland Regional Mosaic Life Care, has sued and garnished the wages of hundreds of poor patients. Garnished the wages. Wow, man, you can't even get treatment in this country. Many of them workers at McDonald's, Walmart, and pig slaughterhouse, employing 2,800. A debt collection company working for Heartland Mosaic, which filed over 1,000 suits in 2013, seizes patients' wages. The money taken is applied to interest, and debts can grow much larger. Although not all nonprofit hospitals sue patients, in 2003, the Wall Street Journal ran a series of articles by Lucette Lagnato revealing that in several states, nonprofit hospitals not only initiated hundreds of lawsuits, garnished wages, and seized tax refunds, but they also routinely had arrest warrants issued and jailed debtors who they claimed ignored requests for payment. Lagnato began to, by profiling a 77-year-old retired dry cleaning worker whose wife had been treated at Yale New Haven Hospital 20 years ago. Yo, they should be ashamed of themselves. And died soon after. His debt climbed to $40,000, though over time he had paid the hospital $16,000, about the amount of the original bill, but interest and attorney fees caused it to balloon. Yale New Haven, according to Lagnato, counted among the hospitals that now ranked as America's most aggressive debt collectors and resorted to jailing debtors. So too did a teaching hospital of the University of Illinois and nonprofits in Indiana, Michigan, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Nonprofit hospitals also exploited uninsured, low-income patients by charging them more than the discounted rates negotiated. Energy. No, where was I? For example, by HMOs gouging the poor led to lawsuits against 300 nonprofits in 17 states. The IRS has long required nonprofit hospitals to maintain their tax-exempt status by providing community benefits, a category difficult to measure and thus easy to ignore. The Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, however, instituted new rules intended to make evasion more difficult. One rule prohibited charging the needy uninsured their set prices but giving lower negotiated prices to the insured. Another called for reasonable efforts to determine if a patient qualifies for its financial assistance before engaging in extraordinary collection efforts. Confronted with requests to pay taxes, some large nonprofits complied, but overall the industry's voluntary contributions were paltry. That stood in stark contrast to what many nonprofits, large or small, shelled out to professional fundraising or fundraisers. From 2011 to 2015, State Attorney General exposed widespread instances of charities receiving very little of the funds raised from their donors by professional fundraisers. In one investigation, 90% of over $1 million raised for 13 California charities went to the middlemen. The charities included Amnesty International, Defenders of Wildlife, and Save the Children Foundation. In 2012, a Michigan veteran of foreign affairs local kept only 9.4% over $1 million raised by Canadian firm Zintel, Inc., with U.S. operations based in Florida. The VFW director called this a necessary evil, but Zintel, over the previous decade, had been fined a total of $1.4 million for fraudulent activity in several states. Massachusetts Coakley reported that during 2010, professionals had gathered $367 million in donations for several organizations, but approximately $166 million or 45% went to the charities. The steady rise in nonprofit executive salaries owes much of their boards of trustees and directors imitating the for-profit sector. The spectacular increase in for-profit CEO compensation on Wall Street and in large corporations is well known. Large nonprofits are doing their best to catch up. Executive boards now consult websites such as that of the Nonprofit Times, the leading business publication for nonprofit management, to learn about compensation throughout the profession and how to maximize it. So that's non-profit hospitals. It's terrible. And instead of making all these little complicated rules and regulations in the Affordable Care Act, why not just give us universal health care? I think the United States has something against doing easy things. I think that's what it is. Until next time, try to stay safe, try to stay sane.